Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Your Mark on the World show. Today's guest is Scott Uhland. He is a volunteer for the Lucille Packard Children's Hospital at Stanford University. Along with him is John Brennick, a J&J employee who is the co-founder of the Caringcrowd crowdfunding site. We're going to talk about the piles of money Scott helped to raise for the hospital to support children there who are receiving cancer treatments. You don't want to miss this episode.
Welcome to Your Mark on the World, bringing you another changemaker with champion of social good, Devin D. Thorpe.
This episode is made possible via the support of our sponsors, including Johnson & Johnson's Caringcrowd. Scott, John, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Oh, thanks for having me.
We're thrilled to have you. Scott, you came at this effort tremendously successful, raised over $15,000. But I want to start where you started in this journey, which is with your daughter being diagnosed with a form of cancer. Tell us a little bit about her story.
Sure. Yeah. So back in 2014, my daughter Lucia was diagnosed with a form of leukemia. And it was a completely new experience to us, something our family had never experienced cancer up until that point, and let alone someone, our young daughter. So, we spent the next 2.5 years going through chemotherapy protocols and visits, and we've been really successful on her treatment, and it had a lot to do with the support and the network around our family. So it was really, in hindsight, it was a really positive experience, and it really brought our family together.
I imagine it was one of the great trials of your life, but it seems to have motivated you. So you recently did a crowdfunding campaign on Caringcrowd. Tell us a little bit about how you were able to raise so much money.
Yeah, so a little lead into that. So throughout the course of the treatment, one thing that was very important to the young patients, the pediatric patrons, is the support system that needs to be in place to support the entire child, not just the clinical treatment, but the social support system. And that was really important to, when children stay in hospital 60 days continuously, they need that. So we saw that was an area of that really needed some funding. So we wanted to continue to contribute to that in some way, even though after we've taken advantage of it. So I've learned of Caringcrowd and its thesis and its goals and what it's able to support. So I was really excited to find Caringcrowd through Johnson & Johnson connections, and its ability to support these types of fundraising efforts. So my wife, Angela Uhland, and I, we've crafted a project that was aimed to support the complete child through therapy, not just to support them with the physical aspects, but the emotional and social aspects of treatment.
John, as you think about, you are, let's establish a couple of things. Caringcrowd is a sponsor of GoodCrowd.info and the Your Mark on the World Center and the show. Johnson & Johnson sponsors Caringcrowd. You are the founder or co-founder of Caringcrowd. Tell us a little bit about the origin story, the founding story of Caringcrowd.
We had a space to try to innovate, and it was kind of a Shazam moment between Derek Fetzer and me. And we saw this opportunity for the new Global Public Health Group to launch a crowdfunding platform dedicated to global public health. And so we were strongly supported by management and funded, and I even changed roles across the company. It's a story of internal innovation. It's also a story of the Johnson & Johnson Credo, which says, actually was established 75 years ago, and says that if we take care of, not only the doctors and the patients and the families, but also the communities, and we always do the right thing, then the profits will follow. So, but first you do the right thing. And so the Credo really guided everyone and said, yep, look, we can do this, so let's do this.
That's great. And give us just a sense of the scale of the success so far. You've had many dozens of successful campaigns, raised tons of money. Give us a sense.
Yeah, we're up to, we've seen over 140 successful campaigns on the site. In 2017, the campaign success rate was 80%, partially because, speaking of support, we support as people try crowdfunding for the first time. They receive some guidance, and we don't charge anything for use of the platform, and the projects all have to pass review, including by an external panel of global public health experts. So anyone who uses Caringcrowd can say that they've passed and were able to get onto the site with their project.
That's great. Now, Scott, I want to come back to you. Lucia is 7 years old now. She's in remission. How's she doing?
She's doing fantastic. She's playing soccer. She's doing gymnastics, excelling at school, just she's my hero.
Oh, that's great. That's the report we really want to hear. So what is she, when she talks about her experiences, some of them are probably jumbled and forgotten, but she probably remembers some things. What does she remember? What does she take away from this?
Oh, that's a good question, and it's a mixed bag. She loves, she has great experiences with the staff at Lucille Packard, wonderful people. She's got close friendships with some of the nurses who really were by her side. She's got, as some of us may know, during chemotherapy, your appetite may be a little off. So she's got some of her favorite foods in the world come from the hospital cafeteria. So it's quite some quite cute things that have established. So.
Overall, when she thinks about this experience, I imagine that she doesn't wish to go back.
It's not as extreme as you'd think. And again, I think that's why we really wanted to focus on the child life support services at Lucille Packard, because they provide activities, art classes, musicians come in, and they try to take the stress off of the entire thing. There's some things that you're just simply not going to change, that are physically hard to do. But other than that, it's as pleasant experience as these children could ask for.
Wow. And it's because of these support services that you successfully raised money for on Caringcrowd.
Absolutely. For example, some of the activities that our Caringcrowd funds went directly towards was it supported an Easter egg hunt, and it brings holidays to the children who are not able to go outside and experience normal activities. It brings some of that normalcy inside.
Scott, how did you successfully raise so much money on the platform? What are the keys to success?
Perseverance, and really not relying on the digital and virtual world that you think you can press a share button and have everyone respond. You really need to get out there and do exactly what you and I are doing right now. You need to tell your story. You need to make people feel it. And I think that was key.
Excellent. John, you've helped people now with 140 campaigns. What do you think the key to a successful crowdfunding campaign is?
So first I'll echo what Scott just said. There's a particular example where someone was fundraising using Caringcrowd, and the campaign hadn't experienced the energy that she had hoped. And then when she opened herself up, showed vulnerability, a very brave thing, I admire, and explained that she had experienced the same issue herself and she wanted to help others, then people connected emotionally and they go, oh, now I understand and this is personal. And then quickly she achieved the funding goal after she went out with that message. So I think that's very important. And also preparing the campaign before it's launched online, having 20 to 30% of the funding goal pre-committed so that in the first 48 hours, that momentum is started and other people then later looking at it will look at it and say, wow, all these other people have pledged to this project. They must believe in it. So I think I will too. And those first pledgers can then be asked to then tell all their networks, hey, I thought this was important enough to pledge to, please help.
Yeah, fantastic. Scott, as you look back on your experiences overall with Lucia and her illness and then raising money, what is the most important takeaway you'd share with other parents?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say there's a lot of good in the world. I think we hear so much negativity on the news, and truly when something like this happens and you share that and you share that with your network and your neighbors and your community, there is so much good left in the world and so much caring, from people who support Caringcrowd all the way back to when we first found out, and dinners and lunches were showing up at our doorstep. So have the faith and you can get through it. You have a lot of support in this world.
John, you talked a little bit about the Johnson & Johnson credo and how that helped inspire Caringcrowd. Tell us a little bit about why this is important to you personally and how that fits in. When I say this, I mean Caringcrowd, and why it fits into the Johnson & Johnson mission.
Well, personally, I've always wanted an impact of my work, whether it's an indirect, whether it's an indirect impact or a direct impact to, help others and help others and be meaningful. So when this idea came along, and I was all over it. So I was very passionate about doing it and put heart and soul into making it happen along with others. So, and this is just a wonderful experience meeting people like Scott who are intent on really taking real action and really impacting others. And it's just a privilege to work with people like Scott to hopefully help them make those impacts. So it's beautiful.
I hear you.
And you as well, John.
So, Scott, what is your superpower?
it's a superpower plus maybe also an Achilles heel at the same time. I'm never satisfied. I always want to try to improve something. So I'm tenacious about always not settling for what's in front of us, the status quo, and I always want to improve it, no matter what aspect of life. And I think that really shines through here in this project.
Yeah, it sure does.
Improve the lives of these children.
John, what about you? What's your
confirm
superpower?
that. I just want to add to what Scott said. Talking with Scott, including through the campaign, I could see that he had an iron will and a huge heart to ensure this campaign succeeded, and he and his teammates and his wife and colleagues, they all pulled through to ensure success. So that's another one of the incredible things you get to see in this role. So my superpower, I would say, I actually talked about this with a couple of people. What is my superpower? And the feedback I get is enthusiasm. So if I get enthusiastic about an idea, it is really a bit over the top. So, and I keep at it. So
that's great. Fantastic. Well, gentlemen, I really appreciate you both taking the time to be with us today. Before we wrap up, John, could I just ask you to take a minute and tell people how they can learn more about Caringcrowd and launch a campaign there?
Yeah, I mean, the quickest, easiest thing to do is, if you're wanting to lead a campaign, go on the site, click on Create a Project, and just start a draft. You don't have to finish the draft, but just going through that process, you learn a lot. You can always delete that draft later, go back to it, keep building it. Another thing to do is please reach out to us at help@caringcrowd.org, and we will get back to you, talk to you on the phone, answer your questions, and determine if it's right for you. And also, please email us, help@caringcrowd.org. Also, if you just have questions and want to explore.
Let me just ask you too, John, to remind everybody how much Caringcrowd charges for this service.
Thanks. I mean, Caringcrowd is different because we are fully sponsored by Johnson & Johnson, so we don't need to charge for use of the platform. And in fact, from time to time, there are matching funds available. So, and we're also, the projects are reviewed. So it's a different kind of crowdfunding platform than you might have experienced in the past.
Fantastic. Well, John, Scott, thank you both for joining me today. I really appreciate it and wish you every success in your continued work.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you.
All righty, let's do some good.
At Caringcrowd, we believe everyone has the power to make a difference. Through our crowdfunding platform for community health, we empower passionate people to drive real change. Whether you work for a nonprofit organization, volunteer, or want to get involved for the first time, you can post a campaign on Caringcrowd. Join us, because caring is where change begins.
Thank you for listening. This podcast is available at youtube.com/Devin Thorpe. Subscribe to this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes by searching for Your Mark on the World. Every weekday, Devin hosts a CEO, celebrity, entrepreneur, or other changemaker here on the Your Mark on the World show to inspire and prepare you to make your mark. Devin is a champion of social good, writing about, advocating for, and advising people who are doing good. He is a Forbes contributor who is a recognized thought leader in social entrepreneurship, impact investing, and crowdfunding. To book Devin as a speaker, visit devinthorpe.com.